Hey guys, it's Karina here with another video. So today I have a guest on my channel. This is my sister Jose. She's been in one of my videos before and we're doing another collaboration video today. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about conservative Christianity and progressive Christianity. So we just want to make a quick disclaimer that we respect the journey that everyone is on. And the point of this video is not to say that there's a right or wrong way to go about your faith. We respect all journeys, and if that works for you, that works for you, and we respect that. So that's the disclaimer we just wanted to make before starting. Also, we're having some tea, and Egyptian licorice tea, yogi. It's really good. I highly recommend. Anyway, so that was our little
naturally sweetened.
Yeah, that was our little ad for the day. Yogi didn't actually sponsor us, sad. It's okay. Anyways, so, yeah, we're just gonna kind of like go through 10 different questions about conservative Christianity versus progressive Christianity, and yeah, it's kind of gonna be like an interview kind of style. So, yeah. So our first question is, what has your journey been with Christianity? So I'll let Jose start us off.
Okay. My journey with Christianity, well, both my sister and I, we grew up in a family that I wouldn't say was particularly, like, conservative or anything. We did attend a more conservative church, though. I kind of grew up very spiritual and always kind of, like, being aware of, like, the presence of God in my life. When I did reach an age where I started going to youth group, I started to feel as though I had a little bit of different beliefs as my peers. In our youth group, after the sermons, we would gather in small groups separated between boys and girls, and we would discuss the sermons and answer questions, and we would have leaders who would give us life advice and guide us in our spiritual journeys. And in my small group, I found there was a lot of drama, and there was a lot of personal experiences that I was very overly empathetic towards, and I didn't really think things were being handled appropriately, and I didn't know how much I agreed with the advice that they were giving in general, and I just didn't find I resonated with it, and I didn't really understand why I didn't, but I didn't feel it was right to continue, and I just found it was kind of became a bit of a toxic environment, and I found it kind of emotional to be in. So I decided to stop going to youth group and start discovering kind of my own personal beliefs and why I didn't feel I resonated with the rest of the people at my youth. So starting from there on, I started to try and go on a personal self-discovery to try to figure out where I stood in my faith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my journey was completely different than Jose's. So I loved the church from a very young age. As Jose mentioned, we grew up in a more conservative church. However, our parents never really forced anything upon us or were super conservative. However, I'm like a type 8 on the Enneagram, so I'm very intense and I jump into things with 2 feet. And I just loved church and I loved youth group, and I got super involved and invested in it. And after high school, I did this missionary program called Youth with a Mission, and it was a great experience. However, it was a very conservative missionary program, and in that program I think I was very spiritually high, and I got really intense about evangelism and trying to like essentially save the whole world. And not that those were bad things, but I think I was definitely on an extreme high. So when I got home from that, I definitely crashed from it, and it was really difficult, and my mom and my sister had a lot of influence during that time and asked me a lot of hard questions, and that's really what started the journey of me rediscovering my faith. And a big aspect of it as well was the YouTube channel God is Gray. Originally I disagreed with a lot of her videos, but then, I don't know, God just started changing my heart, and I started agreeing with what she was saying, and just went through this journey of actually asking questions and searching for my own answers, rather than just asking Christians what they thought of these things. So, yeah, so that was kind of my journey. So our second question is, was it difficult transitioning? So I'll let you go first, Jose.
Yes, I found it difficult transitioning because I kind of lost that community of youth group during my time of high school years. And I also found it hard transitioning because I did feel very alienated in the sense that, like, because I didn't even understand, like, my beliefs and why I, like, left or felt strongly about it. And it seems like, for example, with my sister and I, since we were kind of experiencing transitions at a different time, I experienced mine way earlier in high school, and she had a very different perception of faith at the time, and I felt like her input was very heavy, like she was very heavily putting her input into my life, and I just felt very alienated. Like I knew that something wasn't right, and that I knew that I needed to go on this journey of discovery, but I didn't really understand.
Yeah, it was a difficult journey for me too. It was extremely difficult just to let go of my foundation, because for me I felt like I had all the answers, and I felt, confident and certain in my faith, and then I went from not knowing any answers and not sure of anything really. So it was an extremely challenging journey, and I lost a lot of friends through it, and as Jose said, I felt alienated too, and just confused, and like didn't really feel like I was being validated in some ways. So yeah, it was a very difficult journey. So question number 3 is, what did you gain in the process, and what did you lose in the process?
Okay, so I think I started to answer this in the last question. So I lost that kind of youth group community to lean upon, and something I gained was just like gaining perspective, and I think it was a time of great personal gain because I was looking deeper within myself and like trying to ask those big questions.
And for me, as I mentioned, I lost a lot of friends in the process. I lost the structure I once had, but I think what I gained was a more open mind. I am now a lot more easygoing, and I think that I'm more open to what other people believe, and so it's been a really freeing process for me. Alright, so question number 4 is, what has been the difference between our 2 journeys? So yeah, we've had completely different journeys. Mine kind of was like very intense. I was all about like Christianity, and then I crashed, boom, and like I changed within 6 months. Like this process has really started for me in the last 6 months. Whereas your process has been like a lot more gradual, right?
Yeah, mine has been a gradual process, and happened over like a span of years. It started in grade 10, so when I was 16. And it went all throughout high school, and then I had a more clearer idea when I was around like 19. So
yeah, and I think it was difficult for both of us because like I knew Jose was never on the same page, but she never really stood up for herself or explained why she didn't agree with the things I was being taught. So I thought she was confused, and I thought I needed to explain Christianity to her, and she was like my little project essentially to convert her to like a true Christian. So yeah, I really cringe at what I thought about.
I did feel like a project.
Yeah, honestly, that's what you were to me, and that's really cringy, and I'm really sad to admit that. But yeah, that's kind of like how it was before, because I didn't know where she stood, and it wasn't until after YWAM that Jose was like, Karina, I think you need to tone this down a bit. Like, you should check out this YouTube channel.
Well, I didn't even really like, because I'm not a very confrontational person either. So I was just like, I found the YouTube channel God is Grey in high school when I was like trying to like figure things out a lot, and I kind of just like kept it to myself for a long time because I didn't think Karina would like respond to it like very well yet. And I just like held on to it, and then when she came back from YWAM, I was like, this is an emergency. So I was like, I sent her the God is Grey link. I was like, you should check this out, and I didn't even have an explanation of what it was really. I just like sent her the link because I wasn't even going to like explain.
But then it was so funny because like that channel completely transformed me. Like I was originally, when I started watching, I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, you know, this is so controversial. But then I don't know, I felt God changing in me, and I just totally like one by one let go of things and like started on my journey of progressive Christianity. So it's been really funny to compare our journeys and laugh at our journeys. And it's cool that we're like in a similar spot now, that we can like talk to each other about it and not feel judged by one another. Because I think before that point, like Jose felt judged if she asked my opinion, and like it was just we avoided the topic, right? Because we knew we disagreed so strongly. So yeah, but I think it was good that
it was a bit of an elephant in the room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it was good though that we transitioned at different times and, you know, got to that spot at our own pace, right? So yeah, and I think something like we're both really thankful for is that like we both made these conclusions at a really young age. Like I'm 19, you're gonna be 22 soon. And I mean, it's not bad to make these conclusions when you're older, but I think it's just amazing that we were able to make these conclusions early on in our life. Because now we're at a point where we can shape our life based on the conclusions we've come to. So, yeah. Okay, so question number 5. What have you found limiting about conservative Christianity? Alright, so I'll let you go.
So at the time, like if I'm thinking about my 16-year-old self and youth, some of the things I found kind of limiting was like just how it felt like they just wanted us to convert everyone around us and like all of our friends, and they were always like trying to encourage people to come to youth group, which is not a bad thing, but like it just kind of felt like they were always like trying to get us to tell the gospel to our friends and trying to like, and I felt like it was a lot of pressure, and I did feel like I was pressured to like convert my friends a lot of the time, and I didn't feel like it was right. Like I felt like everybody had their own personal journeys, and like to put myself on them like that, like I'm not that type of person either. Like I like to respect people's journeys. I'm not like the type of person to like
but I am.
yeah, to like put myself on people. So like I found that very like out of nature for me, unnatural. So there was that, and they were also really talking about like in small groups, especially for the girls, like because they kind of talked about different things with the boys and the girls in the small groups, which is why they were like separated. So they really encouraged like evenly yoked relationships. So that means like both Christian relationships, which I like did not believe in, because like for me, none of my friends really were Christian, and for me I actually felt as though my non-Christian friends really helped me and like sharpening and defining my journey in faith actually more than some of my Christian friends. So like I just found it like ironic, and then I also found that like none of the boyfriends I had like were Christian, and I didn't feel like it affected our relationship or impacted, and I didn't feel like they were any more disrespectful in this relationship, so I just didn't feel like I resonated with that, and I didn't think that that was something I needed.
And if anything, you'd say it strengthened your relationship, right? Because they would challenge you.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I feel like potentially might not happen in a Christian relationship, because you both believe the same things, right?
Yeah.
So.
And then also just the very narrow perspective on sexuality.
Yeah.
That was very hard on me for the whole thing. Even though I wasn't personally like affected, but it wasn't like it was just more like I just felt like it was very narrow, and I didn't think it was right for every person. Like, I just thought it was a very narrow perspective.
Yeah.
When sexuality is such a big thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because they pretty much say there is one way, a male and a female, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is a very narrow-minded perspective.
Not just, like, LGBTQ-wise, but, like,
even relationships.
Like, purity-wise and the ways that you engage in sex and...
Yeah, and marriage and stuff.
Everything. Like, I just felt like they only looked at it in one very narrow way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely just accurate to Christianity in general. They say this is the way of life, and, you know, if you don't live it, you're not a Christian, right? So for me, I'm definitely really happy with my decision, as it was a really difficult journey. Because when I first transitioned, a lot of people were putting negative input and saying, like, I don't agree with you, Karina, like, this is a big deal, you should really consider this. And I was doubting myself a lot, and it was really difficult to then become confident with my answer.
That was what was kind of different for you, is because you were publicly and putting out your beliefs. You more input was put on you.
Yeah.
Where no one really knew that I was different. I didn't talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, because for me, like, I publicly broadcasted my journey on YouTube, so a lot of people were able to comment and give me feedback, which I don't regret doing it in that way, because now I feel like I don't have to hide anything, and I'm not uncomfortable disagreeing with people. But that definitely made the journey a bit more difficult. But I would say I'm definitely really happy with where I'm at now, and really happy that I've come to these conclusions, and I just feel more free in my faith. So, yeah. Alright, so question number 7 is, what advice would we give to Christians going through their journey of faith? So, yeah, I think my advice would be ask questions. And ask questions to a variety of people. Don't just ask your Christian friends or your Christian mentors what they think the answer to the question is. Because that is definitely something I did, because I was afraid of what non-Christians, what their answers would be. And I didn't want to hear their answers, because I only wanted to know what Christians thought. So I think it's really important that you ask, you know, atheists, non-Christians, people of different religions, what they think about these topics, as that can give you a really grounded answer. And yeah, it's just really important that you research and that you don't fear asking questions. So that's what I would encourage to any Christian, is ask questions and look for a variety of opinions. And then the other thing I would say is, like, just don't go with the safe answer just because it's the safe answer. Like, when I was going through my decision on whether I should affirm the LGBTQ people, I was really confused, because I was like, well, I think it's really safe to say I don't affirm these people, because it's, like, pretty clear that a lot of Christians say that you shouldn't affirm. So I'm like, well, that's easy to stay on that side. But what resonated with me more was deciding to affirm these people. And that's what in my gut felt right. So I had to trust my gut and had to let go of the safety of the answer. So I think it's really important that you're not afraid to let go of the safety of an answer, and that you really trust your gut. So, yeah, what would you say?
Yeah, I would just say to also, just look for lots of different perspectives, and to not be afraid to go deep in defining your opinions and beliefs, because some people think that sometimes can have misconceptions that opinions and beliefs can happen just like overnight, because people seem so confident about them, but really they take time.
Yeah, for sure. Question number 8 is, how have the people around you shaped your journey?
The people around me have shaped my journey greatly, mainly my friends. They have been very active participants in my life, of like me trying to figure out who I was and what my faith journey actually was. They were very patient listeners and very respectful towards what I was telling them, and responsive, even though they didn't necessarily agree, and I still was aware of their opinions, but they didn't try to sway me, and they actually became an active part of me trying to figure out what my journey was over time just by sharing. But they didn't necessarily like try to like
sway you to the other
sway
side.
me the other side or
Yeah.
something. Like
Yeah.
convert me to atheism. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. That makes sense. So for me, the people around me have definitely shaped my journey immensely. Like my sister and my mom are probably the biggest impactors in my journey, as they were really there for me after I came home from YWAM. Also just the people in my church, my pastor, and a couple of people who have been mentoring me in the church have been really helpful. And yeah, just my non-Christian friends too have been huge supporters. Like they just, I don't know, I've gotten so much closer with them after this process because I feel like we can relate more, and yeah, they really respect the journey I've been on. So yeah. Question number 9. How has your experience been freeing for you? Alright, so do you want to go first?
Yeah, my experience has been freeing for me just by allowing me to have freedom in my beliefs and freedom of choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a big thing, is freedom of choice. Is now, you have the freedom to decide for yourself what the answer is. Because in conservative Christianity, there isn't a lot of freedom of choice. And to me, that's not even real freedom. Like they talk about in the Bible how we should be free and how Jesus has set us free, and I feel like sometimes religion can be the opposite of freeing. If anything, it limits you in some ways. So I think letting go of some of the rules and structure of Christianity has been really freeing, and if anything, I feel more free now than I did then. So yeah, so our last question is, what do you believe now? So I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so what I believe now is just kind of very vague, which a lot of Christians would probably judge me for, because they're like, you have to know all the answers and you have to have like a concrete belief system.
Yeah.
But I keep it very vague because it's going to keep changing. Nobody knows the answers, and it's going to change for the rest of your life. And as you grow into into your own person, things. I think people are just very afraid of things changing, right? And so they want to box things. They want to have the answers. But I mean, I believe in God, and that's what I know, and I believe in having a relationship with Him, and I know that looks different for everyone.
Yeah, so I would pretty much say the same thing. Like, if someone asked me what I believed, I would just say I believe in God, and that's all I know. Like, I'm choosing to take that step in faith and believe in God, but that's where I stand, and my faith is always changing. So I like to keep it simple so that there's room for growth and room for change in my life. So yeah. Alright guys, so to end off our video, we just want to say we'll link all of the resources below in the description box of things that we found helpful along the journey. And yeah, please comment below what you thought of this video, like, subscribe, and we hope you guys have a great week and stay safe with the coronavirus. We're praying for the people that are sick right now, and we're hoping that this gets under control soon. And yeah, know that if God puts you to it, He will put you through it. Bye guys!